Richard Allen's arrest, I've actually lost count of the number of times I've found myself just shaking my head at the tactics of his defence team, and this is not any different. So, this week, I've heard that apparently Richard Allen would like to return to the scene of the crime. Now, that's not the full story, of course. What is going on here is that his defence team have put in a request for the jury to be taken to Delphi, specifically to do a walkthrough and see the scene of the crime. And I'll come back to that in a minute. At the same time, Richard Allen has said that he would also like to be able to attend. Now, there's a number of issues with this on both fronts. First of all, I'm going to play a small portion of one of the news clips to demonstrate one of the problems with this whole scenario.
So we're at about the halfway point of the Monon High Bridge here behind me in Delphi, Indiana. You can see I'm standing on a part that is rebuilt, looks completely different than the area that leads over to private property. About this area right here, that's where that Snapchat photo was taken, where Libby takes a picture of her friend Abby. The two girls, they were heading down the bridge south over to private property, and that's where the abduction happened.
Now, the video footage that I'm showing right now, which we'll be playing while I'm talking, is from GRE Hughes Investigates, and it is a walkthrough from the point where the girls were dropped off through to the location of the crime scene. I've actually edited it out because there's a lot of points where he stops and explains things, which for this video are not relevant. But I'm putting it up here for a specific reason. Now, first of all, I want to address the idea of the jury doing a walkthrough to the crime scene. So the defence is saying that they want the jury to do that so they can see that the scenario being put forward by the prosecution is in fact unrealistic, and that it would be quite difficult for the killer to have taken the route that they are claiming. So basically they want to prove to the jury that this is not how it happened. The problem I have with this, normally I'm all for a jury walkthrough and juries attending crime scenes and everything, but as you saw in the first video, it has changed. They have now done repairs to the bridge partway across, and there is now a big fence around it to prevent people from continuing over on the older portion of the bridge. And of course, you could see that it has become particularly overgrown at the far end of the bridge. So what the jury would be seeing would not be the conditions at the time that the girls went missing. They wouldn't be experiencing going across the bridge. They wouldn't be experiencing reaching the end of the bridge and going down the hill, because it looks like it's so overgrown that it's possible that they may not even be able to get through to there. And as far as safety concerns, I'm pretty certain that they would only take the jury as far as that platform. And if I was standing on that platform and looking along the bridge, I would think, well, no, there's no way anyone could get down the hill. There's no way anyone could go anywhere other than stop at the end of the bridge. So I think it would be extremely misleading to be taking the jury there to do that. I do think that these videos that GRE Hughes has done, give credit where credit's due, he's done a pretty damn good job with these videos. I'll put the link in for this original video, because what he actually does, the bits that I've edited out, are where he lines up photos from Abby and Libby and shows you exact locations of where things happened, which I think would be extremely useful for a jury, and far more useful than a walkthrough in a location that over the past 7 years has changed dramatically. Now, moving on to Richard Allen. Now, we can be pretty confident that no judge who's even remotely professional is going to allow Richard Allen to return to Delphi and do a walkthrough with or without the jury. Because if he is, in fact, guilty, that's actually pandering to his fantasies, essentially. And to me, that is the only reason I can see for him actually asking to be allowed to go to the crime scene. That is that it is pandering to his fantasies. He knows he's going to be locked up for good. He knows that once he is convicted, he is never, ever setting foot out into the free world again. So this is his last chance to go and relive the fantasy of what he did. And I can't believe that the defence team would even request it, because I'd imagine the prosecution are going to have lots to say about the notion of Allen returning to Delphi and returning to the crime scene and doing a walkthrough. Because, well, they're not stupid. So to me, this is just another stunt by the defence team, and a pretty poor one at that. I would be extremely surprised if they actually did allow Richard Allen to go back to the crime scene. In terms of the jury attending the crime scene or going and doing a walkthrough, I hope that if that is allowed, that they do use footage like this GRE Hughes footage that I've just shown you, so that as well as actually being on location, because I think that perhaps without doing a walkthrough, I think it could be beneficial for the jury to be taken to the location where the girls were found. I don't think a walkthrough would be beneficial because, like I said, the area's changed now. But I can't see there being anything wrong with taking the jury to the location where the girls were found. It can be accessed through the cemetery, through Ron Logan's property, etc. And maybe that could give them some perspective, and it could actually help the prosecution. But in terms of a walkthrough, I think that that would be a bad idea, simply because they would not be experiencing what the place was like when all this occurred. But I definitely think that regardless of whether or not they do take the jury to Delphi, they should show them footage of the walkthrough, something like what GRE Hughes has done here. And to be honest, I think that the work he's done would be more than adequate to be used in a courtroom. So this is actually valuable stuff that he did, doing he called it a flow through of the crime scene. And I could see that as being a valuable resource to be used in court to help a jury to understand what went on. So, thanks for listening. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Please hit the like button and let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think the jury should be taken to Delphi? What do you think about the idea of Allen being or requesting to actually return to the crime scene. What are your thoughts on the different strategies of Alan's defence team? So thanks for listening. See you in the next video.